What you doing today? You always busy.
You know me, I'm giving a presentation today.
Okay, I like that.
Proskauer.
So we've got our legal aid event coming up here soon. Walter is going to be our guest speaker. The entire firm is super excited to have him. He's going to share a bit about hope, about second chances, redemption.
28th floor.
And of course, the main event, Mr. Walter Johnson, who's kind enough to join us today, will share his extraordinary journey from a quintuple life sentence to compassionate release, and offer a compelling look at the impact of America's sentencing laws, the power of redemption, and the life-changing impact of pro bono legal advocacy. So we're really excited. It's going to be a great event.
And I think something that just really stands out to me about your story is that you were doing this work, countless of hours of voluntary service, being there for not only your peers who were there, but also looking to make amends with victims who were on the outside. And you were doing all of this work while facing a quintuple life sentence with little hope of coming home. And I feel like that is enough to break anyone's spirit. So could you share a bit about what kept you motivated through some of those challenging times to continue staying on the path towards service, personal transformation, and giving back?
Well, when I think back, for about 7 years, I held on to somewhat of a criminal mentality. And I found myself looking at myself as if I was a convict, a gangster, an inmate. But as time went by, I noticed that.
In particular, would you be open to speaking a bit about your upbringing in Brooklyn and how that shaped the path that you took later in life?
Okay. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, the East New York section of Brooklyn.
Can you speak about that evolving relationship with Judge Frederick Block and where you guys are today?
Okay, I'll be happy to. Judge Frederick Block, or the Honorable Judge Frederick Block, he had sentenced me to 5 life sentences. And when I got sentenced, in my mind, that was the worst thing that had ever happened to me. And as I did that time, and I began to grow, and I began to transform, I came to realize that it was actually the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And I would like to read something. I received this book from Judge Block as a gift. And I asked him to sign it, to give me his signature, and he did. The judge that sentenced me to 5 life sentences, when I got sentenced, Judge Block told me that the reason why he was giving me so much time, I also worked with the Innocence Projects. I mean, the Innocence Project actually worked with me for maybe 20 years. 20 years. And with my attorney, Mia. She was the one who brought it all the way around, because what she did was, in preparing the motion.
You've been fortunate in a lot of ways in the fact that you've had great family support coming back home. Not the least from your lovely wife, Coco, who has been an amazing supporter both during your time in and as you come home. But so many individuals do come back home with a lack of support.
Right.
And I know it's difficult for returning citizens to make that transition.
I thank God for my wife, coachcoco. Because I felt that if I'm at the top of my game in prison, now that I'm coming home, I'm just going to come into society and just be able to do everything that's necessary. But when I came home,
now that we're here today, I think it's incredible that you not only came back home, but you came back home as a leader in this community. You know, you having spoke on MSNBC, done an article in the New York Times, spoken on NPR, spoken alongside Al Sharpton, all about, you know, the importance of rehabilitation, the importance of criminal justice reform. I think just again goes to show how far you've come on this journey and how much further you are still looking to go. And so if you want to just touch on briefly about things that you're excited about next that you're working on.
Well, I'm excited to be human again, you know, because for a long time, I see myself as something other than that. And I took life for granted, and I took people for granted, from my own parents, all the way up to friendships. And Champions for Change, you know, it was something that was created by myself and my wife, because I believe today that I'm finally part of something that's worthy, you know? And I want to champion that. You know, I'm focusing on those guys who are out in society committing the crimes, being able to, you know, face these guys and speak to these guys, because it's hard for people to understand the damage that they are doing to the communities. You know, a lot of guys grow up in poverty, and you know, they grow up in single family homes, sometimes without parents. And I just want people to know that you can make a mistake, but you don't have to continue being the mistake you made. And that's one of our biggest problems. Many times we make a number of mistakes and say, you know what, that's just who I am. And it just takes the right people, the right choices, you know, decisions, and being in the right environments for a person to recognize their value. Unfortunately for me, it was prison. But fortunately for me, I got it together. And that's my mission today, to help others get it together. It's not impossible. And no matter how much pain I've been through, I can still smile. And I don't blame nobody for what I've been through. I blame myself. No.
Well, I know you mentioned, you know, wanting to encourage others to realize that they are so much more than that worst mistake.
Yes.
I want to say to you, you are a living, breathing example of how false that narrative can be in terms of someone is just a mistake that they've made. You have shown through your actions, through what you're continuing to do in order to create lasting change, that it is always possible. And
hi, thank you so much for speaking with us today. My name is Katrina. I have a question for both Ted and Walter, and one is more of just like social justice side. I think we're in a changing world where everyone is trying to figure out what to do. Laws are changing, policies are changing, people are getting angrier, people are just becoming angrier. And I guess my question I had is, I think you, Walter, are a living testament of having hope in a changing time. So I guess for both of you guys, what's one piece of advice or what's one piece of thing that you guys could give to us about growing in this changing time and having hope from the legal perspective and the non-legal perspective?
I would say that, well, for me, your outlook on life. Because when you see things changing and you're not to your benefit, we often feel threatened. And the fear often is what make us make the choices and decisions. So I would say that prepare yourself ahead of time for what's to come. But not only prepare yourself, get with other people who are preparing themselves so that you will be part of a community of people who understand where you're coming from. And y'all have the same mission. Because like in prison,
I was curious about your work on, there you go, sentencing reform, and I feel like something like that requires both changes in legislation but also societal perceptions about the justice system. Walter, in your time navigating the justice system, is there something you want lawyers but also society to know and that we have kind of overlooked?
the Federal Defender's Office and the Legal Aid Society, you know, they are people who aid and assist people that don't understand how important you are. Because even myself, at a young age, I didn't understand how important you guys were. You know, I was young and incarcerated, and I could speak to an attorney who really, really wanted to help me. But when I went back amongst my peers, they would tell me the attorney don't know what they're talking about. The attorney's lying to you. The attorney's down with the prosecutor. They all working together. Don't trust the judge. Don't trust this. Don't trust that. And before you know it, you get mixed up. So
Hi, Tatiana. Thank you both for coming out and speaking to us. And Walter, I just want to say, I actually am touched by your story, and I think it's a true testament to not only having faith in yourself, but also, you know, forgiveness and like moving on from, you know, any obstacles you had in the past. So thank you. My question is, I do a lot of work with youth, and sometimes I find it's very difficult for youth who are kind of on that path to possibly becoming incarcerated to change their mind or try to get to them, to, you know, put more preventative measures before they get to that point. So are there any strategies or things that you would have helped you when you were younger to kind of help prevent youth from getting to that point?
young people are very hard-headed. And they encourage each other. You know, they big each other up for doing negative things. So I would say that it's important that you be able to talk to somebody who was that young person. So, and that would be me. You know, that would be my wife. You know, if you have, you know, young guys or girls that it's hard to get through to them, maybe we could help you come up with some strategies on how to communicate with this person. Or even maybe I could speak to these guys and explain to them how much time I did and where they're going with their lives, and that they could be me before I was released, and they could be coming home at 61 years old. You know, I mean, because with the tough guys, you gotta love them in a tough way. And sometimes, like I said, we wear masks. They be veiled up. So they need someone to break those barriers down. And then when they break them down, that's where you'll be able to really get to them.
And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to share your story, share your heart with us. And
I'm happy to be here.
and let's just give it one more just warm round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to introduce Walter Johnson, a man whose story is a testament to resilience, transformation, and the power of second chances. Sentenced to 5 life terms under the 3 strikes law, Walter refused to let his circumstances define him. Even while serving his sentence, Walter remained committed to personal growth and service, completing hundreds of voluntary programs, mentoring others to inspire change, and even pioneering a Victims Impact program that is now nationally recognized.
Bebo.